Hey there, Sanko, everybody. Welcome back to another amazing video. So today's video is in regards to what's the difference between Islamic finance and your conventional financing system. A lot of you guys have talked about, what is Islamic finance? What is the difference? Why do we need this? And I've met a lot of people who have no clue about Islamic finance, and they always are interested in knowing more about it. So this honestly will save me a lot of time because I can just be like, watch the video. So without any further ado, let's get this video started. So Islamic finance versus non-Islamic finance. I'm sharing my screen, so just follow my screen. There's a lot of points here. So in Islamic finance, real assets is the product, money is just a medium of exchange. And with non-Islamic finance, money is the product itself sometimes, and the medium of exchange can be a store of value. And we see this with the concept that, riba, you can't use riba as a form, or you can't use money as a form of, tool to make more money. You have to have an asset in between. You can buy an asset and then use that as a tool to make more money. So that's one of a very known common part of Islamic finance. Profits on exchange of goods and services is the basis of earning profits. Time value is the basis for charging interest on capital, and this is with the non-Islamic finance. Islamic finance, a balanced budget is the outcome of no expansion of money, and non-Islamic finance, the expanded money in the money market without backing with real assets results in deficit financing. And then let's go Islamic finance. Loss is shared when the organization suffer losses, because it's usually an equity-based system. And then in non-Islamic finances, interest is charged even in case of the organization suffering losses. There's no concept of sharing loss. I mean, you can set up a equity-based system even in non-Muslim countries, but majority of their organizations are based off of loans and debt, and so then the loss, regardless of loss or profit, you have to pay interest. In Islamic finance, the execution of agreements for the exchanges of goods and services is must, while just disbursing funds under murabaha, salam, or istinja contracts, which means there needs to be a asset class or a good that both sides agree upon, and then the exchange has to happen in regards to the contract. In non-Islamic finance solutions, while dispersing cash or finance, running finance or working capital finance, no agreement for exchange of goods and services is made. So in other sense, what that means is that you can pretty much take a paper agreement and then take another paper agreement and just keep forwarding paper agreements. And this is one of the reasons why back in the 2008 crash, literally what people did was, they did these agreements with derivatives. Derivatives was what made it much bigger, but it was the concept of paper agreement upon paper agreement upon paper agreement. So you just keep churning these paper agreements, and then due to that multiplier effect of these financing being pushed forward, then there's also the multiplier effect of when those finances crash, that exaggerating the result on the economy of the market crash. What we'll do is we'll do sides, okay? Well, every time I talk about Islamic finance, it will be this side, non-Islamic finance will be this side, okay? Due to the existence of goods and services, no expansion of money takes place, and so thus no inflation is created. So there's no inflation because there's not an expansion of money, right? There's that multiplier aspect is not like you can't print extra all that money. So again, in the non-Islamic finance perspective, due to non-existence of goods and services behind the money while dispersing funds, the expansion of money takes place, which creates inflation. And I mean, this is literally what we're talking about when it comes to we're off the gold standard. So now we're just printing money, but the system, how it should be, is that there should be some asset classes that back up any form of paper money. You don't even need paper money. Then you can just have the concept of commodities being traded, or whatever is being traded is being traded. Mal is being traded, but that mal has to be backed by some form of asset, right? And that's why America just printed $1 trillion. And how do they justify them not having hyperinflation globally from that $1 trillion? Is by their weaponry, is by violence. So, this is what I'm trying to say. Due to control over inflation, Islamic finance, no extra price is charged by the entrepreneur. Obviously, there's no inflation. There's very low inflation. People should not be charging extra prices. It should be more or less the same price, unless if there's a supply and demand issue, that's a different thing. There's a price increase because of inflation versus there's a price increase because of supply and demand. Due to inflation, entrepreneurs are increasing the cost of goods and services and blah, blah, blah. All right, next one. Musharaka and diminishing musharaka agreements are made after making sure existence of capital goods before dispersing funds for the capital project. For example, if you guys are raising funds for a property, there needs to be an agreement that this is the location, this is the physical look of it, there's an asset backing. When it comes to financing or bridge financing in non-Islamic finance, you can get long-term loans without even having an actual assets being there. You can just give it from a perspective of, an idea. So and this is where the issue comes in, that what are we really taking money on, right? Is it based off of a thought, or are we getting money based off of a paper, versus is there actual physical appointed accounted assets? Next thing, oh, you guys might like this one. Islamic finance, government cannot obtain loans from the monetary agency without making sure the delivery of goods to the National Investment Fund. This is what they meant by gold standard, where, if you wanted to print more money, you need to have assets in the reserve. You need to have gold there. So just in case, if people come back with that money to pick up the gold, you can have that gold to give. And this happened, I think, in the after World War I or World War II, where people did rush back to the banks, and the banks were like, oh, well, there's no gold. We'll do something about it. What are you gonna do? So that's Islamic finance. In non-Islamic finance, governments can easily obtain loans from the central banks through money market operations without initiating capital development expenditure, right? And then also, I'll just add on top of this, the government can put their hands in your bank account like Greece and take the money and do whatever they want with it. Islamic finance. Real growth in the wealth of people of the society takes place due to multiplier effect, and real wealth goes into the ownership of hands of people, right? When it comes to non-Islamic finance, real growth of wealth does not take place, as the money remains in a few hands. In Islamic finance, the goal is to push concepts of wealth upon the entire society, where there's not a huge diversion between the rich and the poor. It's more focused on helping society grow as a whole, and focused on ethics and focusing on the family structure. Whereas in non-Islamic finance, the rich can be elite rich and the poor can be elite poor, because of those differences of concepts of money making money in their hands. I mean, all the other things I've talked about, riba, unethical practices, and all that fun stuff. For example, the poor cannot break the law, but the rich can break the law in the non-Islamic finance world. In general, Islamic finance or Islamic world, that's not how it is. Even the greatest caliphs were held accountable in front of the judge. They're the caliph, they're the head. It's like the prime minister, president being held accountable from the poorest man in front of them. And so, the justice aspect. Islamic finance, due to failure of the project, the management of the organization can be taken over to hand over to a better management. In non-Islamic finance, I mean, this is for both, actually, it could happen for both, but due to failure of the project, the loan is written off as it becomes a non-performing loan. So this is in regards to the financing. So if the company in the non-Islamic finance world goes bankrupt, then you can opt into for bankruptcy, and then they can sell this off to another organization. And all that stuff. But you know what happens with all this, with the non-Islamic or Islamic finance world, is that bankruptcy then can be paid off by the bank, but then quite usually a government needs to step in to help with those bankruptcies. And then guess who loses the money? Us, we do, from two angles. One, we lost money because of the bankruptcy, and then two, because the taxes that we paid is the one that's paying off the bankruptcy for this organization, for the bank. Bank is the only one that makes money out of this whole thing. We can talk about, okay, so it's a few more. For Islamic finance, sharing profits in case of mudarba and sharing in the organization of business ventures in case of musharaka provides extra tax to the federal government. This leads to minimizing the tax burden on over-salaried people, due to which savings and disposable income of these people are increased. And you can see this, that they have an increase in the real gross domestic product. And I saw this when I was in the Middle East. Okay, we're going to talk about the concept of disposable income, and that's going to be an entirely new video. But I'm telling you, this is vivid if you go to the Middle East. Debt financing gets the advantage of leverage for an enterprise due to interest expense as deductibles items from tax profits. This causes a huge burden of tax on salaried person. Thus, the savings and disposable income is lower. Yes. We know this. We're in Canada. I'll tell you guys a different. We're gonna make an entirely new video on these two topics. Due to increase in the real GDP, the net exports amount becomes positive. This reduces foreign debts and blah blah blah. To be honest, majority or even our own Muslim countries are not doing this well. That's why we have such high foreign debt. Due to increase in the real GDP, the net export amounts becomes negative. This invites further foreign debts and the local currency becomes weaker. But it's not happening right now because we're not using the proper system. We are using a system of violence, and that's why USD is high. That's why certain currencies are higher. And then also, but there's some countries like Greece and others that are facing the loss of their currency. As a whole, I hope you guys like this video. This was a very quick, compare contrast. And I know I was pushing the narrative of Islamic finance because that's who I am. I want to, because that does save society. That does save, the poor from being even more poorer and the rich from becoming even elite richer. And there's more haya and there's more growth with the family structure. So I hope you guys like this video. Let me know which ones you guys like the most. Tell me what I missed. I mean, there's a lot that I missed. Let me know in the comments below. Like, share, subscribe, hit that bell notification icon. You know I'm making videos every week for you guys. So please share this with your friends. Like and share and all that fun stuff. Take care of yourself. And as always, keep me in your du'as. Assalamu alaikum. Do subscribe, like, share, hit that bell icon for notifications. Follow me on TikTok and Instagram for more content. I'll be uploading more stuff in all of these social media websites. Thanks. Take care. Salam.